Today is May 24th, 2025, and right now across the United States, well, it's mostly quiet besides the Ozarks. We have been experiencing torrential flooding over here around, our four states over here, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas, have been dealing with some flooding, especially around the Springfield, Missouri area. Last night, we did have considerable amounts of flooding happening around there. And we also do have some severe weather happening over here in southern Arkansas, where we could be seeing some storms today. The reason why I am making weather videos later than usual is because a lot of this stuff happens during, kind of like the evening time, so it'll be more reliable and more accurate whenever you do that. So we have a enhanced risk of severe weather for central part of Oklahoma. So, Tulsa and Oklahoma City will be in that. We do also have a slight risk that covers most of Mississippi and Alabama, as well as Arkansas. Most of Oklahoma could be in this, as well as a little bit of northern Texas and Louisiana. And we even have a tiny little sliver over here back towards Denver, Colorado, and Colorado Springs, where we can see just, a little tiny bit of weather happening. Now, tornado potential this morning was only at this 5% chance, but recently they did add just a tiny 10% chance. Kind of get around central Oklahoma, so Oklahoma City, again, kind of going to be in there. It might be a little actually to the northwest of it in like the suburbs, but still, most Oklahoma City will be in there. We even have this little 2% up here, like I said, like around Denver and like Cheyenne, Wyoming. Also going into like, Arkansas and northern half of Mississippi and Alabama. The hail threat, I think, is going to be the most significant out of all of this. So we have a 30% chance around the central Oklahoma. Also, we do have this hatch risk that does go down into northern Texas, and that covers kind of like the central parts of Oklahoma. Have even just a little tiny hatch risk around the Denver area, as well as all of this 15% going through Arkansas, northern Mississippi, and Alabama. I don't think that we're going to be seeing much of a concern with their wind threat because it does cover, most of Oklahoma, northern Texas, and Mississippi and Alabama, but we do have just a little bit down here over in Florida too, and it also goes all the way up to like central Wyoming. So it's going to be kind of more of an isolated event, I think, for a lot of these areas that will be impacted by storms today. Tomorrow, they have issued a enhanced risk for southeastern Oklahoma and northern Texas, with our larger slight risk going around kind of like the northern portion of Texas. Most of Oklahoma will see it. Same thing with Arkansas, northern half of Mississippi and Alabama, as well as kind of like the Memphis, Tennessee area. We could be seeing some storms too. Day 3, we do have ourselves a slight risk kind of throughout the northern half of Texas. So Dallas-Fort Worth areas could be seeing some of that, and a lot of suburban, areas and towns around there. Now, if we're talking about flooding, we do have ourselves a slight risk of flooding, so 50% chance of flooding happening within 25 miles of your location. We do have ourselves a slight risk throughout the northern half of Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, just a little bit of southeastern Kansas and southwestern Missouri, kind of around what I like to call the four states region over here. We could be seeing flooding over here, and this goes all the way kind of towards the Atlanta, Georgia area, so watch out for flooding for sure. The rest of the outlooks wouldn't show up for pivotal weather, so I am going to be using WeatherWise for this. We do have ourselves a moderate risk, so 40% chance of flash flooding happening, and Tulsa, Joplin, seeing some stuff, maybe Fort Smith and Fayetteville. We do have a camera over here, but I looked at the Hazcam and it didn't really show flooding this morning over there just yet, because a lot of her flooding happened kind of towards over here where we saw it. So southeastern Missouri, we saw a lot of the flooding. To tomorrow, that 40% chance will go away. I mean, I think there's a chance that they could reissue it and put it back to 40% chance, but a large swath of 15% chance. So Dallas-Fort Worth, Shreveport, Little Rock, Memphis, and all the way over to Huntsville, Alabama, and maybe a little bit of Nashville too, like southern suburbs of Nashville, we could be seeing some flash flooding too. 4 over here, we have a large swath of 2% chance going all the way up into West Virginia from Texas. So a lot of the south to the mid-Atlantic to the southern plains, we could be seeing, a 5% chance of flooding happening. This is right now when I'm making this video, probably around 1 or 2 o'clock when I'm making this. But we can see that rain in Arkansas is kind of moving out. We also have this low pressure system going to be moving in here. And we can see that that's how a lot of our storms are going to fire up, especially in southern Kansas too. We do have those isolated cells that any of those could be producing tornadoes or large hail, especially. And then we can see that a little line of storms will form. And this is where we're going to see a lot of our flooding today in northern Arkansas and southern Missouri. And the ARRR doesn't go back that much, but this is going to be kind of like a late evening to overnight event. So nocturnal tornadoes can happen, which are very deadly because, if your phone ain't working and you're in the path of a tornado, you might not be waking up. So that's why you always have to have your phone on, especially during the night. Now, real quickly for our significant tornado parameter, we can see that already in Oklahoma, we could have a tornado parameter up to 4.0. Actually, going later, where we could see, tornado potentials up to, 7.5, maybe even up to 8 in some areas. And that's going to keep on going, and that's going to keep on, seeing around the Denver area where they have that slight risk where, areas can see up to 1.0. Oklahoma's going to be our big risk factor, but there is, that slight chance over here in kind of northern Colorado area where we could be seeing some tornadoes as well. Now, for the rest of the country, we can see that this storm is going to be moving through. Now, a lot of this heavy rain will be dripping the south with a lot of rain, and the south could actually see quite a bit of flooding. Now, this stuff will move kind of into the mid-Atlantic over here. And we also might see something forming over here in the Great Lakes, too. So, we've got to keep an eye on that. And then, we can see, many more disturbances later into the week, into the start of June, where, more rain can even be expected. Now, definitely for the people who are trying to go, ski in the mountains, this might not be the best time, and you might have to wait a little later maybe to potentially do that. But it's also getting into June, so mountain snow will probably go away soon for a month or two, and then it'll come right back. So if you guys like to see a new hunt weather video, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.